New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
New Thought Media Network proudly presents On Purpose with Reverend Beth Linguri. Wednesdays at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Central European Time. Come find purpose, nurture growth, and live your passion. And now On Purpose with Reverend Beth Linguri.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. So good to be with you this afternoon. I'm in a slightly different location today and welcoming you to On Purpose, this weekly broadcast designed to support you on your life journey. Your life journey is to live on purpose, your divine purpose. And so I'm inviting you now into this time of reflection, of stillness, of letting go of all that is going around and just being here now. Our focus for this journey on purpose is the book by Ernest Holmes called This Thing Called You. And this week we're focusing again on chapter 14. And so let's move into this sanctuary of this moment now. And so gently close your eyes and become still and connect. Just take a deep breath and allow yourself to connect with the wisdom of your heart, listening deeply to that heart space, that space within, that sacred place. And surrender and release and let go of anything that came before or anything that will be coming afterwards, and just move into this now moment. And take another deep breath and release. There might be some thinking going on, or anxiety, or worrying, or some things that are moving you away from your sacred place, but just let them go for this time. Become aware of your body in space, your seat, your legs firmly on the ground, connecting with the earth space, your spine erect, and your head pointed towards the sky above. Just become aware of the silence, the deep silence within, that still space. And be there now. And in this place of openness and receptivity, listen to the words that Ernest Holmes writes in this chapter. And just allow your imagination to embody the words. I realize that there is a divine presence at the center of my being. And I let this recognition flow through my entire consciousness. I let it reach down into the very depths of my being. And I rejoice in this realization. The perfect life of the divine, of the source, is in and through me. in every part of my being. And I acknowledge now that I am free. I am free because the spirit of life in me is perfect. In this chapter, which we began to talk about last week, when I shared the rules of the game of life with you, Ernest Holmes speaks very powerful words. Very powerful words that I just read to you. And as we spoke about the game of life, we acknowledge that within each of us is this spirit, this incarnation, this inspiration. We can call it this God mind, which gives us this freedom to live this life of spirit. And he says to us, if we create an intention and listen to this inspiration of the God mind, which is in each one of us, and then we place this vision that we find there into our imagination, it leads us to a magical unfolding of the life of our dreams. I shared last week that Florence Scovel Shinn wrote the following about this divine design that is in with each one of us. There is a place you are to fill, and no one else can fill this. There is something for you to do, which no one else can do. This is your divine design. There is this perfect picture of this design in the superconscious mind. You remember she talked about 3 different minds: the superconscious mind, the God mind. And this design usually can flash before us as something that we would yearn for, that we would long for, but seems to be unattainable. Something almost too good to be true. And in reality, this is your true destiny, flashed to you from the infinite intelligence which is deep within each one of us. The 3 ideas of mind, the subconscious, the superconscious, and the conscious mind, which this conscious mind sometimes call the ego mind. The subconscious mind is simply power without direction. It just does what it's told to do. We create the picture, we create what it is, and it does it. It just takes on and creates it. So it is up to us to create in this place with our imagination that which we wish to unfold. And then the superconscious mind, or the God mind, is where the idea comes from, the perfect idea, this divine design for your life. Individual, different, unique for each person. So this week I ask each one, what do you suppose would happen if you really believed this? What do you suppose would happen if you really, really believed this? Not merely as an intellectual concept, as I talk about it and you think about it, but what if you believed that it was true? And you had a deep inward feeling and an expanded sense of its meaning. Perhaps you shy away because it seems too good to be true. I ask you a question. Think about this right now. Is there a place in your conscious mind that whispers, don't believe this? It's too good to be true. It might be true for others, They're more clever, but it's not for me. Ernest Holmes goes on in this chapter to say this: I cleanse the windows of my mind that it may become a mirror reflecting inspiration from the Most High. In other words, there is a window between this ego mind and this superconscious mind, this God mind. Okay? There's a window between them. And this window becomes foggy. We're not allowed to see. We don't look. There's no awareness of what's there. I cleanse the window of my mind that it becomes a mirror reflecting that inspiration from the Most High. In other words, the only thing that is separating you from living this purpose for your life, this bliss, living in the kingdom, Jesus called it, and experiencing this life of bliss, the only thing separating you from this is that the windows of your mind are clouded. They're clouded with past trauma, misunderstandings, things that people told you when you were very young and you believed them as truth when you had this hypnotic mind as a child. You have built up a wall of falsehoods and myths that are not true. And they're carried around with you as clouds on the window of your mind. They're blocking your vision. And you simply don't see what has always been true. So, how do we cleanse the windows of our mind? Do we get out some Windex and scrub them clean? Or perhaps you have another secret method. I remember once a group of friends were discussing secret methods for cleaning their windows, and they all had a different method. What is your method for cleaning your windows, the windows of your mind? So, in answer to this question, how do we cleanse the windows of our mind? How do we clear this blocks that are blocking our vision of our higher purpose? And his answer is spiritual realization. Spiritual realization. How can you really know what is true for you? And how can you see this clearly? We can see clearly if we cleanse the windows of our mind, and spiritual realization can help us withdraw this curtain, cleanse the window, and allow us to see the truth of spiritual perfection that dwells within each one of us. So I ask you now, right now, can you visualize yourself withdrawing this curtain, cleaning these windows, removing the barriers? Can you visualize yourself doing this? Can you recognize that the cloudiness has arisen because of what others told us, or said, or did? From moments in our childhood, when we interpreted actions and created these untrue assumptions, and we carry them around as the truth, and they manifest in our lives because they're there creating and taking over our imagination. What I'm going to invite you to do today is really a big step. It's a big step, but it can create such an amazing life. It can enable you to live your purpose. And this is what's going to change the world. This is what's going to bring peace and harmony and joy to the world. When we look out and get discouraged by what's going on around us, the way forward is to understand each one, the individual purpose, and to be living that purpose. And we can do that if we cleanse these barriers and see clearly. See clearly. Let the clouds fall away. I can see clearly now. I repeat the words that I spoke earlier from this chapter in Ernest Holmes. I can see clearly now this divine presence at the center of my being. And I allow this recognition to flow through my entire consciousness. I let it reach down into the very depths of my being. And I rejoice in this realization. The perfect life of the God mind is in and through me in every part of my being. I am free because the spirit of life in me is perfect. This perfect life fills all space. And this spirit animates all form. This is the good news. This is the message. This spirit animates all form. And this spirit can heal any illness in the form of body or mind. It can heal. It is a healing power. However, there is always this if. Even spirit cannot make the gift of life unless you accept it. Are you ready today to accept this spirit which lives deep within you? Are you ready to turn away from every objective fact that presents in your life, that you see on the outside? All of those things that come into your conscious mind and say, look at me, I'm true. Just turn away and look within to that perfection within. We turn away from the conditions that we see in our life to the causes. The causes of the conditions we see in our life are what we are imagining from in our everyday conscious mind. So, and the subconscious mind just takes that and manifests it. Most people are out there are doubting this. Many doubt this. And proof comes only to those who believe. Humanity's highest hope and aspiration has been built around the lives of those few who have believed. And I want to share with you that you are now one of these. You do believe. From now on, I declare that nothing can dim your faith and cause you to doubt again. Now you know. Now you are aware. And through that manifestation of the power that is within you, you can project any objective experience that you may legitimately desire. So let's make sure that we're expecting this. Let's live in the joyous expectation of good. Accept abundance. Animate your experience with thoughts of plenty. and affirm that divine substance is forever flowing to you as supply. Divine substance forever flowing to you as supply. And so I have shared with you this affirmation before. I'll share it again. And this is the affirmation that I'm inviting each one to live every day. Become aware. See clearly this truth. I know that I am a perfect being now, living under ideal conditions today. And as we do each week, we engage in this centering practice to follow through and make this affirmation a reality in our life. Remember, the centering practice is this pathway to living this perfection, living from this inside knowing from this God mind into our everyday conscious mind. We have this intention to live more entirely from our inner knowing. We bring our heart and brain into coherence. We consult our intuition, find time to be alone, and go within to the sacred center of your being. Visualize it, feel it, be there. Engage your imagination to see this inner being, inner life. See with your inner eyes. And learn from this inner being what is yours to do. What shall I do today? And carry this with you every day. As you go through your day, become more aware of your instinct, of your intuition, of your hunches. I can see clearly now. I realize a divine presence at the center of my being. And I allow this recognition to flow through my entire consciousness. I let it reach down into the very depths of my being. And I rejoice and give thanks that this perfect life of the divine is in and through me in every part of my being. I am free because the spirit of life in me is perfect. Life fills all space, and spirit animates all form. Spirit makes the gift of life, and I accept it. I turn from conditions to causes and create the causes of conditions I choose in my life. Recently, I was fortunate to have a trip, which we planned, a 10-day trip on trains and buses and all different kinds of transport, staying in hotels. And those of you who travel know that there are many unexpected things that can happen. And we had lots of them in this trip. Lots of unexpected challenges, beginning from the very first moment that we went down to our local village to take the train, and the door of the train closed on me as I was trying to get in, and the train took off, and we were not able to get on the train. Can you imagine? Just starting out on a 10-day trip. And so I had a choice. I could become very upset, or I could go within and ask, okay, what's to do? And the intuition came immediately. And we were able to contact a neighbor, ask her to take us down to the next station where we could get our train up to Basel and continue on our journey. This truth of living with our inside out and living in connection with our God self is something for our everyday life, for every moment of our life. And this happened constantly through our trip. Where we arrived at a train, the train was canceled. And so there were 3 train loads of people trying to get on one train. And I listened again and chose the doorway in which there were 2 seats waiting for us, and we were able to sit down. So it is not something far off. It is for every part of our life. In closing today, I'd like to share with you the writing of Wayne Dyer. Wayne was an amazing teacher, and he taught this truth. He taught this constantly in all of his books, his radio broadcasts, on TV. And it was an awareness that he came through his work as a coach and as a teacher. And he wrote a book called I Can See Clearly. It's a memoir. And these were his words. He wrote in his memoir about when he was a small child. And already as a child, he began to have this inkling of what his divine purpose was. This is his writing. Just as everything we need for our physical development is handled by a divine, mysterious, invisible force, while we come from a state of perfect well-being, divine love, our Creator needs no assistance in taking care of this unfoldment. It's only when we interfere with this celestial programming that we get off the path of spiritual realization, this spirit realization, this key, this constant key to this unfolding of our life. I can see clearly today this entire universe is on purpose. I see now that our earliest personality traits and predilections are expressed because they represent our higher selves. At early ages, we're still very much connected to our source because we haven't yet had the chance to edge God out. E-G-O, ego, and assume the mantle of the false self, the ego. I can see clearly today this universe is on purpose. And I know that I can unfold and cleanse the windows of my mind to see this divine purpose constantly, every day of my life. And so our poem today comes from the opening to this memoir. It's by an English mystic called Richard Feld. It's a new writer to me, new poet. I've never read his poems, and I'm delighted to learn of him because I think I will research and find other poems that he's written. This is Richard Feld. If we stop for a moment, it is possible to perceive a pattern in our lives. The motivators that have influenced us become more obvious. We're able to see life unfolding from both ends at once, coming into the present moment. But until we have gotten to a certain point of realization, spiritual realization, this is not possible. Because everything is still seen as a series of apparent causes and effects. Spiritual realization, the key to cleansing the windows of our mind to see clearly now. God bless. Namaste.
Thanks for watching. Join us again next Wednesday for more of On Purpose with Reverend Beth Linguri, only on New Thought Media Network. Learn more at www.ntmedia.org.